Hello everyone, Mr. Hissner here, and this is our first geometry lesson. And in the first couple lessons, first couple days of instruction, because geometry is a new subject, it's not algebra, it's not pre-algebra, it's not something you did before. I mean, although you have seen a lot of principles in geometry like lines, line segments, angles, rectangles, all these types of things that you're familiar with in geometry, we start the class by assuming that you know nothing and just kind of build up from there. So it's a lot of examples, a lot of definitions and things like that. So just bear with me. For this lesson, you will be expected to take the notes, and in fact, your assignment will be to take notes. So as you're watching this video, please get your notebook out and follow along. And then the submission for this assignment you will see will be take a picture of your notes and send them in. So without further ado, let's hop into the first lesson, which does include, as promised, come on. Okay, so how I would set up my notebook if I were you is how I have it here. So you'll notice that I have main ideas that I'm going to be writing over here, and then to the right of those main ideas are just notes about those things. And yeah, we'll go from there. So the first thing we're going to look at is a point. A point is just a dot. So a point is a location in space. It's a location in space. It's just something that exists somewhere. So you'll notice that here I have this dot here, and how we name points is with capital letters. So I'm going to call this point A. Point A. And let's look at a location in space. What do I got here? So I got here's Redland High School, and what I did was just, look for Redland High School, and you'll notice that under the words Redland, or above the words Redland, is a dot. It's a point. It's a place in space. And as I go around and drop these pins, you'll notice that as I look at different locations in space, I'm getting points. So these are points, and that's kind of what we're dealing with. They're locations in space. It's just a spot in the world, a spot in the plane, a spot in the geometric world, really, as well. So points are always denoted. So I'm going to write over here. These are always denoted. These are always denoted by capital letters. So for example, we have the point A. You could also just call this A, because points are denoted by capital letters. So if you write the capital letter A, it means the point that is named A. And that's what we got. It's those two things. Let's look at lines. So lines are made up of any 2 points. So I'm going to make 2 points, and then I'm going to put a line through it. And lines also go on forever and ever. So I'm putting little arrows on the end of the lines. If you don't put the arrows on the end of the lines, or the line doesn't have arrows on it, it's not a line, it is a line segment. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to name these points. Let's call them X and Y. Call these X and Y, and we will say that a line is made up of at least 2 points, right? Because you could theoretically have a point in here and here, and in fact, a line is made up of points, right? It has to be at least 2, but if it's at least 2, can it be 3? Can it be 4? Could it be 500 million? Yeah, could be. Points, lines, where are we at? Okay, so in addition to this, lines oftentimes can be named by lowercase letters, usually middle of the alphabet letters like M, N, N, L, O, M, M, L, M, N, O, P. O is a weird one, but it is true. Even P shows up. But oftentimes it's M, N, and L. So you can name them by lowercase letters. And so, for example, you could call this line N, right? Because I wrote this little lowercase letter over here. But what you will find is that I oftentimes will not write it like this because there is a better way and a more efficient way to write the thing. In geometry, we name things very simply. This is the line, right? It's a line. It has two arrows, goes on forever and ever, made up of the points x and y. So notice over here, we have the line made up of points x and y. And this is what that says. This is the line that's made up of points x and y. This insignia, this notation, is the sort of the verbal equivalent of saying the line that makes up, that's the line that is made up of points x and y. So whenever you see this notation, it means this figure. The line, top to bottom, left to right. The line xy. The line xy. 2 points on the line xy. Literally, the only thing you're missing here is legit 2 dots here that say x and y. Otherwise, it's the complete figure. Collinear points. So these things are just sort of another thing that we can think of. Collinear, other words that start with co. How about co-worker? How about co-pilot? I think that's how you spell that. I don't really know how to spell pilot. Okay, so collinear, linear, the word line is in there, linear is in there. So these are 2 points. These are points, at least 2 points, that are on the same line. So these are 2 points or more than 1 point. These are points on the same line. These are points on the same line. So if we have non-collinear, and collinear meant to be on the same line, then non-collinear would mean that we are not on the same line. These are points not on the same line. These are points not on the same line. And there is a caveat here. So you need, this is non-collinear. You need at least 3 points. And that is because 2 points make a line. So for there to be a non-collinear point, there has to be at least 1 more point, and thus there needs to be 2 points on the line plus another point. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 points. Steph Curry. So if I was going to show what the non-collinear point looked like, let's just make a point here and call it Z. And you'll notice that x and y are on the same line, but Z is not. Thus, Z is non-collinear with the points x, y, while points x, y are collinear. Comprende? All right, moving on. I'm just going to make a little new idea here, maybe even make one up there, separating lines and points. All right, so let's see. The final piece that we have is what are called planes. So this is a plane. A plane is a flat surface that goes on forever and ever, and consists of 3 points, at least 3 points. Okay, so I have J, M, and N. And then how about fancy R down here? So a plane is made by I'll say at least 3 non-collinear points. Not non-collinears. Non-collinear points. Okay, so a plane is made up of 3 non-collinear points. So you can see that my points over here are not all on the same line. They're in the same plane. And there is always, not always, but yeah, I think there is always in our figures that we'll see, there's always like this fancy, bold letter in the corner of the plane. So this is the name of the plane. So we can name the plane a couple different ways. You can call it the plane and then use any 3 non-collinear points, J, M, N, or you can call it the plane and then its fancy letter. So this would be plain R. And I'm referring to that R. You don't have to write it fancy, but they write it fancy in bold so that it stands aside or it stands out from the points that are just regular capital letters, right? So this is going to be bold, fancy. If you look down here, notice we have some bold and fancy letters. The one is an M and the other one's an L. So we got bold, fancy. That's how you know what those are. Okay, so coplanar. Also, when we write the plane, like you're not drawing a big line over this, right? You're not like, oh, it's a plane. Let me write a line over it. Don't do that. That doesn't make sense because that would be the line segment plane AM. Or don't write a line over this. Don't draw a plane over this. That's not it. That's redundant. Writing the word plane is what we do in front of it. There's nothing to put on top of the word plane. And as you'll see, whatever, I won't even get into it. I'm not even going to confuse you all. But just don't do that. Write the word plane. If it says what plane is it, write the word plane and the letter or the 3 letters, the 3 points. That's it. Coplanar, right? Coplanar. These are on the same plane. Non-coplanar, these are not on the same plane. Yeah, so like collinear, if we have a point that is not on the plane, let's say we have a point like way over here, and we're going to call this one W. So W we could see is non-coplanar, where there's like this plane that is existing up here, and then W is just kind of like under it down there. So like plane's up here, W is like down here, and so it's under the plane, under the sea. Okay, and our final thing we're going to look at is intersecting lines. Intersecting figures. How about that? So intersecting figures. First thing we're going to look at is 2 intersecting lines. And you'll notice that when 2 lines are intersecting, there's this one point right here, right? And so we have 2 lines. These intersect at a point. So 2 lines intersect at a point. And then down here, just because I can't really draw the planes, I kind of have to have them drawn in there. But if you notice, these 2 planes are intersecting and they are creating a line. 2 planes create a line of intersection. Just remember that we are really focusing more so on points and lines, line segments, angles, things like that than we are planes. So if you're getting confused about planes, please, 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 please do not like worry. Don't have any sort of like, oh, I don't understand the planes. It's okay because we don't see much of them until the very second half of this class, way past a lot of stuff. So planes don't come up very often. What your main focus here should be on understanding what points are, lines are, and how to recognize those things. I don't know what time I'm at here, but I'm just going to go just a little bit further and just look at just a little bit of an example that we have here. Use a diagram to find the right name for the following. So what we're doing is just looking to find the names. Let's find 4 collinear points. 4 collinear points. I want 4 points on the same line. 4 points on the same line. So how about H, N, K, and I? These are all on the same line, right? So 4 collinear points would be H, N, K, I. H, N, K, I. And these are just commas. Name a line that contains the point M. So let's see, here's the point M. Well, what about this line? We could call this the line MN, right? We could call this the line MO, right? Because there's 1, 2, MO. If I do this in green, that would be these 2. We could also call this the line NO, New Orleans. Or really, you could even call it the line the other way, right? You could call it, how about OM? What I'm doing is I'm just picking 2 points on the line and naming it those 2 points. All of these answers are correct. In fact, this has 6 correct answers, which is okay. It's okay to use this thing. You could also call this line P, because there's the lowercase p there, so you could call it the line P. You won't see me naming stuff like this though. Not that it's incorrect, it's just not what we see in this course moving forward. What I would hope is that you're going to get used to and comfortable with writing stuff that looks like this. Let's see. Name another name for the line Q. Hey, there's line Q. Let's rename this line Q. How about J, K? 2 points make a line. J, K, LOL. So I'm just going to put a line on top of JK. So that's the line JK. How about the line JL? Sure, of course. Why not the line JL? What about the line KJ? Yeah, that's legal too, right? Because here's K, here's J. Those are 2 points on the same line. K, J. That's okay. It's okay. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. As long as you're getting the peanut butter and chocolate into the belly, it's fine. So this is just a few examples. You're going to have some of these to do on your own. So my goal is for you to take these notes, and if you need to go back, pause, ponder, write stuff down. I'm expecting you to write these notes, take a picture of it, and submit it for your assignment, and then attempt the problem set, and then come to class the next day, tomorrow, with questions. Thanks for watching.